What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In this video, we are jumping into Moon Knight issue number 20. Make sure you stay all the way through to the end because we're gonna have our guest star, which is Blade. I have been waiting for Blade to show up. I have been talking about it for months now, and he is finally showing up on scene. But first, Moon Knight must face against his newest threat. There is a hit out on Moon Knight, but it's not just him. It is everybody that he has ever worked with. Anybody that has ever helped Moon Knight, they are the target. And so this evening, he must find his way through the city before everybody ends up dead. So make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we are seeing that a number of people Moon Knight has worked with throughout the years, they are being taken off the board. They are taking out the shadow cabinet of Moon Knight, his agents, his informants. Now, originally he had died back in Mark Spector Moon Knight issue number 60. All of these informants, the shadow cabinet, they moved on. But now, in present day, someone is killing them. He believes it is because of him. He believes it is because they are all connected to him. And so, of course, Moon Knight takes on this responsibility. He burdens each and every one of their deaths as his fault. From Junior Birdman to Sheriff. All of these individuals have been taken off the board. Picking up with Tigra, she has rescued Kim Hong, aka Scout, getting her through the city and getting her somewhere she can be protected, as Moon Knight makes his way to Plesko's place, letting him know what's going on, getting in communication, not more than 2 buildings away when there is a giant explosion. Another member taken off the board, but right now he doesn't have the time to grieve. Good news coming in from Soldier that Penny Annie has been saved. No word on Skeeter just as yet, but if she is in fact a mutant, then she might be safely tucked away on Krakoa. This is when Reese says that she needs to talk to Jake, cause she thinks she's figured out a pattern. But to have help with this pattern, she needs somebody that knows this city like the back of her hand. With Moon Knight switching up personalities, Jake is a cabbie in New York City. By mapping out the location of every death, Jake is able to see that there is a pattern, that they are moving in a singular direction. He has their route, and so now he knows who might be next. As Moon Knight takes off into the darkness, that is where we pick up with the Harlequin hitmen, making their way through the shadows. Moon Knight sees them. He believes that these are the assassins, but he wants to know what he is getting into. He doesn't want to jump into another fight that he may not be able to handle. And so, taking a quick picture of them from the shadows, he calls up 8-Ball, and 8-Ball lets him know exactly who these guys are. Moon Knight finds this hard to believe. After learning their identities, he knows them by reputation. Even 8-Ball has called these guys a joke before, but now they are coming and they are killing his people, demanding to know who sent them. They say that it was the ghost in the telephone. Moon Knight coming up from behind them, taking their weapons and putting them down. It doesn't take him long to get them back to Midnight Mission, where they are currently tied up. Moon Knight also called the help of Dr. Sternman. This is his therapist, and she is here to really do an evaluation. Moon Knight believes that these men have been taken over, that there is something wrong with them. His assessment is correct. They have been badly psychologically damaged by something or someone. Their minds have been hollowed out. They are nothing but mindless drones. Whoever this ghost in the telephone is, they have taken over the 2 minds, and they have been using them to hunt down Moon Knight's accomplices. With the doctor saying that she is not going to let these 2 out of her sight, then Moon Knight needs to turn them into the police so they can face justice. Moon Knight accepting these terms because he is not concerned about the hitmen. He is concerned about the ghost in the telephone. Now, this is where we jump over to the summer of 1977. We have Blade versus Moon Knight. This is the first ever encounter of the Fist of Khonshu and the Daywalker, with Moon Knight going in on the Daywalker, trying to let him know that he is nothing more than a monster, and that she is going to finish off this job. Blade lets it be known that he is fighting the vampires, not participating with them. As the two of them continue this rumble, the conversation is starting and they're starting to see that they're not necessarily on the opposite sides. Learning that this is Blade, learning that this is the Daywalker. He was supposed to be just a rumor, but once they discover that they are actually working together, this is where we pick up the next night, as they make their way through the city, learning that the fires that are being set, these are done purposely, so that the vampires have locations to hide out. Boarded up buildings no one really focuses on. This gives the vampires locations where they can be hidden during the day, with Blade and Moon Knight coming down on them. They enter the building. The two of them start laying down the hate, using vinyl records to straight decapitate vampires. This is an absolute bloodbath, with vampires getting staked left and right. We see Moon Knight taking off her mask, taking off her hood to reveal that this is Denise, the Moon Knight of 1977. Now, this is the first time that Moon Knight has faced against Blade. Not sure if Moon Knight should end Blade right here and right now, but as long as Blade walks the path of righteousness, Moon Knight sees no reason in taking him out, with Blade going on to say that he is in the debt of Moon Knight. You allowed me to live, you allowed me to walk away from this without us actually having to fight. That is what takes us to present day. A new Moon Knight, but the same Blade. And Moon Knight is asking a favor. Reese is a young vampire, one that is working with Moon Knight, but he is unable to teach her how to be a vampire. There are not other vampires that he trusts, but letting Blade know she is ready to start whenever he is. Finding it very odd that Blade is so ready to train this vampire. Blade lets it be known that this is a favor he has been itching to pay back for a while, but it's not a favor that he owes him or any of his personalities. It is a fist, a righteous fist that he owes this favor to. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this is not the Blade introduction that I necessarily wanted, but it's not a bad way to bring him into the fold, showing that Moon Knight and Blade, they have history. The Fist of Khonshu has history with Blade, and with all these vampire things currently ongoing, you figured it was only a matter of time before Blade showed up. Now, he's not here to necessarily fight vampires. He is here to train a vampire. Because Reese, she is a young vampire. She doesn't know how to be a vampire. She doesn't know the true extent of her powers and abilities. That is where Blade is going to step in. Train her how to properly crave her urges. Train her how to properly fight like a vampire. I can only hope that this is going to lead to some more crossover, not only with Blade and Moon Knight, but everything going on with the vampire nation of Chernobyl. But when it comes to the main issue, it wasn't a horrible issue, it was very quick, but it's moving the plot forward. Now we need to figure out who is the ghost in the telephone. Who is the one that took over these two hitmen's minds and made them go on a killing spree throughout the city, trying to take out all of his shadow cabinet in one fell swoop, in one singular night, before Moon Knight was able to catch on. Let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories. If you would like to get completely caught up on everything happening with Moon Knight, be sure to check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. it is gonna get you completely caught up on everything going on with the Fist of Khonshu. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Much like Patreon, having 5 different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to getting free comics every single month. Not only does this help out the channel tremendously, but you are getting tons of perks in the process. Now, if you are unable to do any of this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.